everyone. This is my scythe. Last weekend I went to Irish Seed Savers in County Clare and I did a scything workshop with a lovely man called Chris Hayes, and hopefully I can remember everything that he taught because he was very good. So I have a whetstone in a jar of water because the whetstone is much more efficient when it's wet. And this is my scythe. So this is an Austrian scythe. This part of it is called a scythe and it's made out of ash. It's very lightweight, so it's not a burden when you're working. You don't get tired as quickly. My strimmer must be about 4 or 5 times heavier than this. And that is a real burden on the neck and shoulders. But this is very, very light. And the handles are in ratio to my body, to my hip and shoulders and the length of my arms. So it's a perfect fit for me and it makes it much easier to use. And there are a number of reasons why I've decided to invest in a scythe. Obviously, the primary one is environmental reasons, because there's no horrible petrol fumes, there's no horrible noise which is very disturbing to birds and other small creatures, and it's also much more gentle on the land because we've got a pond over there and there's lots of little frogs running around, and when you have a strimmer, you can do a lot of damage, whereas with the scythe you're less likely to hurt anything, and they have a few seconds more to get away when they sense the scythe is coming towards them. I haven't used the scythe now since last weekend when we were in Scariff at Irish Seed Savers. Every 3 to 5 minutes we should sharpen the blade to keep it at an optimum performance. So the way we do that is we take the stone and, holding it straight up, we come along the blade in kind of like making a C shape, and we go over the blade twice. I've just wet the stone again, and we do the same thing on the inside. Just the once. So now my blade is all ready, and I'm ready to start scything. And it is incredibly satisfying. And as I said, there's no weight because it's not that heavy a strimmer, and I'm in more control. But I thought I would go back to scything because this is how my uncle, my father, my grandfather put their hay meadows, and it's a lovely way to pass an afternoon, and it's just keeping the tradition alive. But it's also for those other environmental reasons that I mentioned. And of course, the price of fuel, petrol and diesel, is just going up and up and up. The other thing is, if I strim this field, the grass is useless. You can't use it for anything other than mulching around trees occasionally. But when you scythe, you're getting the full length and it can be used for haymaking. So all of this field years ago was a hay field. So I'm going to cut this grass and make hay which we can use under the chickens to keep them warm and snug. So I'm going to start mowing, and the idea is that you mow from long to short, or from a grass onto a path. So there's a little bit of low stuff here. So our teacher Chris explained it's kind of like a Tai Chi or a Qigong workout, because you put your feet just shoulder width apart, slightly bend your knees, and you just move in a crescent or a half moon motion. So it does feel like a Qigong workout, because when you're swinging your arms, if you've ever done Qigong, You're waking your body up as well when you're doing it, and you don't really move. You just shuffle forward a little bit, and as Chris said, you're just nibbling. So rather than trying to get huge amounts and drag and put stress on your body, you're just nibbling away. I just spotted a tree here. If I'd been using a strimmer, that tree would probably be killed off by now, because the strimmer wire would have dead ringed it or ring barked it. But I've spotted it, so I'll show you what we do. We scythers, you just put your blade up to the tree and pull, and that way the tree is safe. One of the other things that Chris taught us, and bearing in mind his little analogy that this scythe is called Fuchs, which means fox in Austrian. And he's said to us to remember, it's not a flying fox, it's a ground fox. So we don't want our scythes up and down like that, which apparently several movies will have people doing this. So we always keep the blade on the ground. It's much more efficient to cut the grass, and it's much safer for anybody that could be nearby. All of these flowers are going to go as I'm scything, but because they're falling onto the ground, any that have seed heads, they will just come again, because that's the beauty of scything. You're not destroying anything. All this grass will come back, all the flowers will come back. Actually, it will make the meadow more biodiverse in terms of the flowers and grasses that are growing here. So it's just like giving it a haircut, and then the new growth is even better than it was previously. So I'm using a bush blade. It's quite short. A grass blade would be longer and narrower. This is a bush blade because this land is so lumpy, bumpy, higgledy-piggledy. It's not a flat, smooth meadow. It's not a plain level. It's all over. So this is more appropriate for the kind of terrain that I have here. Another benefit that Chris mentioned about scything is that you're working with your core muscles, and so you will in time develop a six-pack. So you never know, I might start to look a bit slimmer. I can certainly feel the need to hold those core muscles just to keep balance and to keep the flow going. And it's just great exercise. Hey, I feel I'm in touch with my ancestors. It's taking me back to my childhood when we used to come here with my Uncle Mickey, and he used to be scything the grass while my brother and I were playing, jumping up on stones and everything. So it's such a pleasant experience. Scything like this is another way to become independent. I don't have to rely on fuel suppliers. I'm independent. I've learned a new skill, and it's adding to my sense of empowerment, personal empowerment. So I cannot recommend it strongly enough. I just think it's wonderful. I can hear the birds, I can hear the wind. It's just great. I can't tell you how great it is, and it's just so satisfying. So I'm done for today. I'll leave this to rest on the ground for a day or so, and then I'll come with the fork and you give it a little shake. And then, well, I'll do this for next week's film. I'll show you how I'm going to make the haystacks. But you basically shake it out and then you start to make little piles, and then they get bigger and bigger as you add them all together. So it's not the best of mowing, but it's my first time and I'm just a beginner. Once we've cleared the grass into little haystacks, we'll be able to see, and it can always be redone. It will have to be redone probably around mid-July, August time anyway. So it took me longer than it would take to strim, which is a disadvantage time-wise, but the advantage is I've been looking at so many different flowers that I wouldn't see otherwise with the speed of the strimmer, and it's like a Zen meditation. You know, you get lost in your own world, you're in the outdoors, you're hearing the birds. To me, it's a win-win to use this rather than a strimmer, so I'm absolutely delighted. And if anybody who is in Ireland who's watching, is in a gardening group or a mehel, or have a group of friends who would be interested, I'll leave all the details of Chris below, because he will come out to you if you have a small group. So I think it's time for lunch. I've worked up an appetite and I'm going in, and I'll see you next week. I hope the weather stays good for us all. Thanks for watching. Bye. Come on, dogs. Come, dogs. I hope you enjoyed today's film. If you did, subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And have a look at the website danusirishherbgarden.com for more information about us and about the herbal medicine courses I offer and the Wise Woman Way training. And if you go to the shop, you can find the books, the weed handbooks and other herbal goodies. And remember, we put a new film out every Sunday. So looking forward to seeing you next week.